Hello, David.
Hello, Salim.
Now let us look to some relationship between different concepts or parameters in risk management. What is the relationship between threats and opportunities?
Yes, that's an important question. We've talked earlier in this series about risk not only being bad, that there are bad risks which could damage our time and our cost, our reputation and safety and the environment and so on. But there are also good risks, uncertainties that could have a positive upside effect on achievement of our objectives and could save time and save money and make life easier. We've talked about having an integrated process to manage both together, because threats and opportunities are both varieties of risk. So risk management, if it manages all risks, will manage both threats and opportunities. But now we have the question of the relationship between threats and opportunities. And in an earlier answer, an earlier discussion, I said this, I said threats are the same as opportunities. The only difference is the sign of the impact, positive or negative. So that implies that there's a very close relationship between the two. And in some aspects there is. When it comes to identify opportunities, some people find that difficult. They're used to identifying threats and bad risks through the risk process, but they're not used to finding opportunities. And we'll talk about opportunity identification methods later on. But if we understand the relationship between threats and opportunities, it might help us to find some of these upside risks. There are opportunities which are the opposite or the inverse of threats. So you might say, if we make a financial investment, that the investment could go down. The opposite of that is that the investment could go up. So we have a threat that we lose money from our investment, but we have an opportunity that we gain money from the investment. We talked about currency exchange, and the exchange rate could go down, and that's a threat. But of course the exchange rate could go up, and that's an opportunity. If we have a supplier or a subcontractor, the subcontractor could be late on their delivery, and that's a threat. Or they could be early, and that's an opportunity. So we have opportunities which are the opposite, the inverse of a threat. That's one type of relationship. We have another relationship where an opportunity results from the absence of a threat. So we may have a threat that our staff are demotivated and discontented, and there may be a strike, some industrial action, and people withdraw their labour. And that's a bad thing. If we took away that threat, then it might create an opportunity. So we remove the demotivation, we remove the causes of unrest in our workforce, and they now say we're not going to strike. Now we might have the opportunity to introduce some improved working practices, maybe to increase efficiency, maybe to build a management workforce partnership which would help us to achieve our goals better.
So if that means always removal of threats will be an opportunity?
It could be. So there are some opportunities which arise when we remove the threat. So we have some opportunities are the opposite, the inverse of a threat. Some opportunities are the absence of a threat. You take the threat away, it creates an opportunity. But then there are just pure opportunities, just good things which are not related to anything bad. So a competitor may go out of business. And if that happens, suddenly we find we have a whole new market available to us. Our product demand is increased. Maybe there are skilled staff in the competitor that we could recruit. These are all opportunities which we weren't expecting. They're not the opposite of anything. They're not the absence of anything. It's just a good thing that happened. Or maybe we find that we recruit somebody for a particular role, and when we recruit them to this job, they also have skills in another part which could be particularly useful. It's just a good thing. It's not the absence of a bad thing or the opposite of a bad thing. So we have three relationships between threats and opportunities. Some opportunities are the opposite or the inverse of a threat. Some opportunities are the absence of a threat. And we have pure opportunities which are unrelated to threats.
So it seems to me that an organization or individuals should have special skills or competencies in order just to convert threats to opportunities.
Special skills, not necessarily. I think
or
it's
a culture?
It's an awareness thing. So whenever somebody says, oh, this thing could be really bad on our project, you could just say, well, it could be bad or it could be good. Oh, well, this supplier is always late. Well, is there something we could do that could make them early instead of just focusing on the negative? It's a change in thinking. And somebody could be saying, you know, this is bound to go wrong. Well, if we sort that out and remove that threat, could we do something else even better? So it's just a way of, an awareness, a way of thinking.
So let us look to the other side. We didn't talk about opportunities also can be turned into threats.
That is true, yes. I didn't want to depress you or upset you, but certainly it's true that if you decide to take an opportunity, you could also, the opposite of the opportunity is the threat. If you expect your exchange rates to go up, they may go down. But also if you remove an opportunity, something bad might happen, and then you have just pure bad things. But the other thing is if we take an opportunity, so for example, we look for a subcontractor to take a particularly difficult part of our project or our company and deal with that for us, and we subcontract it away, then that's an opportunity that they can do the work better than we can and more cost effectively and so on. But there are a whole range of threats that come with taking that opportunity. So we have the possibility that they steal the business and they just go and set up their own company separate. We have the possibility that we subcontract to them and they go bust and they go out of business, and then we have a problem. Maybe they steal all our good people and all our good people come from our company to the subcontractor. So we take the opportunity to subcontract and then we create a whole range of threats in addition. So yes, it is true that some opportunities have a potential downside with them.
And all these topics are, of course, related to risk appetite and risk averse and so on and so forth.
Yes, and we have a whole section in our discussion around people. But the important thing, what we're beginning to introduce is a much broader view of risk management. It's not just about bad things. We need an integrated approach, both in terms of our thinking and our practices and our processes.
Interesting. Thank you, David.
Thank you.